Bueno, vamos a hablar de por y para. Maybe I should go like this. Por over here and para over here. It's kind of difficult to film and then think what I'm going to put after with the signs because I kind of get like a little dyslexic and then I move them. So sometimes I'm talking about a sentence and I'm just going like this and probably the sign is going the other way. Anyway, I think that one of the main things to think about or that I teach when I'm in class about the por and the para, which I mentioned today in a post, is that when you think in terms of para, and this is a very generalized idea because there's many other little ones that you saw especially in the chart that I sent you with the por and para that are not exactly what I'm going to say right now. But this is to give you just a general idea because one of the students asked about the parque, the park. So, para el parque and por el parque. That was a very good example, which I usually give an example like that, or a city like Barcelona and Madrid or whatever, and you say voy para Madrid o voy por Madrid o paso por Madrid. Okay, so if you say para, I always think of it as an arrow, a deadline. So a part of, so basically somewhere that you have to arrive. Deadline, para el lunes. You have to arrive there. So para el lunes. La tarea es para el domingo por la noche, ¿sí? It's your destination, your goal. Goal. Para ti, for you. This person is your goal. So hago esto para ti. I'm doing it for you. Okay? Not substituting, that's por. Okay? Let's stick with para because otherwise it gets very confusing. Again, the parque, when you're going somewhere, voy para el parque. You're not crossing it, you're going towards it, okay? Para el parque. Muy bien. I'm just looking at my book here, my favorite book. The only thing about this favorite book of mine, wait, you can't see it. Oh, okay, Horizontes, is that this is for intermediate, so I kind of like, I want to be careful not telling you just way too much because this one, for example, gives you much more information than you need right now with elementary 1 or 2. Another place where you will use para will be when you are, again, a goal or destination. You are doing something in order to achieve that goal, okay? Para aprobar el español hay que hacer la tarea. That's your goal. To pass Spanish, you have to do your homework. See, that's the goal. Para, okay? So, like it says here in Spanish, es para indicar el destino de las cosas, destino de las acciones. También tenemos el destino o la meta. Meta is a goal of a place or a thing that you have to achieve. In this case, passing Spanish, para aprobar la clase hay que hacer la tarea. Muy bien. What else do we have? That one, that's a little more difficult because it doesn't really have that connotation of a goal or destination. This is the one of the comparison. Para su edad está muy alto. That's the meaning in English for being so young. For his age, he looks really tall. Para ser español, habla muy bien inglés. For being a Spaniard, he speaks English really well. So it's almost like... And then again, the deadline, you have to remember that, for example, when you say for Monday, for Tuesday, for tomorrow. So this is for tomorrow, para mañana. Esto es para después, for later. Esto es para el lunes. Hay que hacer la tarea para el domingo. por la noche. And then last but not least, para is also one that denotes trying to put it in the category of a goal or destination. It's very difficult. I always try to sort of like put things in little boxes, but with languages that's almost impossible. Basically, when you are saying, in my opinion, we just say para mí, para ellos. It literally means according to you. Para mí, esto es muy fácil. According to me, this is very easy. Does it make any sense in English? No. Also think that it means para, in order to, as in, for example, in order to not be very tired or get very tired, they took a taxi. Para no cansarse mucho, tomaron un taxi. Now, this reminds me of another subject, which is that with the prepositions, after the preposition, unless we have the subjunctive, back to the subjunctive. So, if you just say in order to, and we don't say who, you're going to leave the infinitive there. Notice what I just said. Para no cansarse, let's say para llegar temprano, in order to arrive early, they took a taxi. Okay. Para llegar temprano, tomaron un taxi. Forgive me. I was just eating my lunch. I took a little break and I went shopping. Wore my mask. Now I'm having some lunch. By the way, my news of the day is that I found Bounty paper. I called it the quest for the bounty. All right, guys. One must have a little bit of fun inside this craziness of ours, okay? So, I really enjoyed finding paper towels today. So, let me just give you one more thing. I actually brought upstairs the book that we're using. Okay, this is all very shiny. Can you see it? Oh, okay. Arriba. This is the one that we use. So it's the hardback that they send me from. It's a really nice one they sent me from the publisher. So one more thing I wanted to say about the por en para. I was just looking at what we say. It was on page 290. And it was mentioning the por qué y para qué. And I remember that one of you actually said something in one of the posts about that was very interesting. I think you said something like, which is true. You said, I don't really see the difference between the questions para qué and por qué. I don't blame you. When you think in an English-speaking mind, it really doesn't make any sense, especially because it says here for what reason, and then as in por qué viniste, why, por qué, and then para qué viniste, what was the purpose. Let's go back to that goal thing. So when you have a goal, so one thing is your reason and another thing is the goal. And I understand how this looks the same. And you're thinking, why in Spanish do you use the two different words for the same thing? It's just a very small semantic difference, but for us, it makes sense, right? That's the question. That's the thing about languages. So you're saying, what's the purpose of your visit? Or what's the purpose of you coming here? ¿Para qué viniste? Then you're asking simply, why did you come? Just why. Okay, so what's the reason? I know it's very subtle difference, but one thing is the reason and another thing is the purpose. The thing that might help you with the para qué viniste, what's the purpose of you coming here, or what's the purpose that you came, would be helpful to think in terms of what for. Para qué is very similar or much more similar in English translation to what for. Whereas por qué is why, just simply why. Why did you come? And I know what you're thinking. It's true. You're just going, well, it's the same thing, isn't it? Yeah, there's a little bit of a difference. And that's the thing, or the beauty about languages is that, when you're translating to Spanish, it's not really the same. Think of it in English this way. If you tell somebody, you came here, what for? That's a little stronger than why, right? So, ¿para qué? ¿Para qué is what's your purpose? Okay? So that's the main thing of the question between ¿por qué y para qué? Still eating my lunch. Multitasking. So, last, por. So with por, as you have seen in page 289, I find that por is a little bit more difficult than para. I'm not sure if you find that, but just because it has a couple of things that I will mention here that are in the book, they're very interesting. Let's go back to what I was saying in the post about that circle with the line crossing. That is the easiest one to remember, I think, or to understand. When we were saying where we're going towards Madrid, me voy para Madrid. Pero cruzo o paso por Madrid, then you're going through it. That is one thing. Another thing that where we use it also that is through, that I'm putting between quotes, is because when we're talking on the phone, remember that phones used to have this cable, right? So the thought of talking through something, like the wire, right? The wires that are outside, that's also por teléfono, por internet, por email, meaning via. I'm just, via, like this, along this path that's like the wire of the phone. The same way when you're walking on a river bank, voy caminando por el río, por la calle, on a street. So you're going to do this along something, via something, okay? That's where por is used. Now the other ones that my students always tell me that they're more complicated, and I understand. The one that's easy is during. During, if you want to look at it as this via, this long thing that you're following, when you say during, por la tarde, por el semestre, por todo el verano, por un semestre entero, meaning during, that you also have this length of time, okay? So you don't have that, I don't know where I put it before, I think it was here, goal. You have a goal. That was para. Now it's length of time, so that's por, via, through the phone, por teléfono, por la calle, along the street. And I'm going to leave this one for last because first I wanted to tell you the one that refers to that por qué, para qué that I just talked about before. So when you think about something, the purpose of something or the reason for something, it says here, because of, in exchange for, lo hiciste por mí. So did you do it for me? Meaning, like I was your objective. I was your, no objective, That's not a good way to explain it. I was the reason why you did this. There you go. The reason. ¿Por qué? So when you ask por qué, it's why. Why is what's your reason? So when you do something for somebody, lo hiciste por mí. That's the example they give you in the book. You did it for me. Meaning the reason. I am the reason, why you did this. If that makes sense. And then, last but not least, and this one kind of resembles English, but not really, is when you go and get something. I'm going to go for, I'm going to go get 10 Cokes and potato chips for the party. Voy a por Coca-Cola y patatas fritas. I'm going to go get you. Voy por usted a las dos. This is just the way that we say it, Some of them you really have to see them a little bit like the last box that they give you, that's like idiomatic expressions. Because even though they put them as reasoning, 1, 2, 3, this is where you put por, this is where you put para. My opinion is that some of them actually go into that box because that's just the way we say it. Voy por ti. Voy por el boleto. It says here. When you pay, this is the one that's called the exchange. So I give you something for this much money, right? So I give you, let's say, this lipstick. Te doy $5 por este pintalabios. That's lipstick, pintalabios. So this is only $1. So don't give me $5, okay? So te doy $1 por este pintalabios. So it's the exchange one. Here they put it under because of in exchange for, yeah, that's fine. They just kind of squeeze them all in the 3 examples. Usually in other books they just put like 1 for each. Okay, so and don't forget to remember the idiomatic expressions. Those are very important. Por ahora, por aquí, por cierto. See, por aquí kind of belongs to the first one that we said, around. Because por aquí just means around here. That's not really an idiomatic expression. It's por aquí, around here. Por Madrid, around Madrid. You walk around the park. Voy a caminar por el parque. So por aquí and por allí, around here and around there, you're just saying around with aquí and allí. Por cierto, por favor, por ejemplo, por lo general y por último, finally. That's a good one, por último, finally. And that really belongs to the idiomatic expressions box, because some of them, they're just basically just phrases that are made in the language. So they kind of like belong to a separate category. Anyway, so I think that concludes my por and para. Not that I can explain as much as I can explain with the subjunctive or the preterite and the imperfect. Por and para, I can only give you examples and also you see me explaining it as if I was in class. I wish I could teach you in person. And which next semester I'm going to be teaching in person, apart from online. So I'm going to be doing both. So I'll be just so happy to come down to New York from here, from Connecticut. So anywho, I hope you guys are all safe and sound, and I will see you in the next video, okay? Adiós, estudiantes.